The thing you notice about setting up a podcast or a YouTube channel or whatever it is, you start with an idea of what you think it takes to start a channel or to start a show. Just recording on some mics or just taking a selfie. Oh man, the camera on the iPhone's really good, and it is really good. But then you start learning about framing, like what should the shot look like? What should my background be? Most houses, we're in California, everybody rents or, has an apartment, whatever, it has those basic white walls. You're not supposed to paint, right? So everybody has those white walls. So you take a picture or video of yourself with a white wall behind you and you look like it just looks like you're in jail or
it's so plain.
It's really plain. So, and then the angle you hit it at, the lighting has to be correct. The way you frame a video, they have this thing called the rule of thirds that I think I understand it by now, but the idea is there should be enough space on either side and on top and the bottom of what you're trying to do. And
yes.
You want to really
a focal point.
Yeah, right. So I learned a lot. I'm not trying to give this misinformation class on filmmaking and shit, but what I've learned is when you put together a podcast, the journey from your first recording or your first idea that you want to do it until you actually start developing a channel, developing content, and finding your voice, you wind up learning filmmaking, you learn audio editing, you learn audio production, video production, you learn how to use cameras, you learn things about lenses and photography, and you learn all this stuff, man. It's crazy. And then the computer stuff, you learn a lot of computer skills.
Yeah, I bet you do, because I definitely am struggling in that part, because as I'm still trying to find my voice for my information, the computer side being technologically advanced enough to know how to search things and knowing how to do a lot of basic just uploading of things is difficult. And that's where I'm slow.
So for me, I had a technical background, but mine was more in systems, sort of how the internet stuff kind of works, building internet services and that sort of thing, Linux systems administration or engineering, and it's not the same set of skills at all. So with the internet stuff, with searching and figuring out basically, what are the pieces and what forums, and, Reddit's really helpful. YouTube's amazing. But, having the right search terms, that wasn't my problem necessarily. The reason that I took to podcasting initially, because I thought it would be a really great convergence between my technical background and then jiu-jitsu, two things I really love, two things I'm passionate about. Basically 17 years experience in one professionally and then 12 in another in jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I can knock this out of the park because I have this technical background. I get what it takes to put one of these things together. This was naive, to say the least, because these are different. You can have somebody that's great as a programmer, a developer, or a systems administrator, something like that. These are like high-paid tech jobs in Silicon Valley, but they don't know anything about Photoshop or audio or video production.
No, that's very specialized. That's a special niche.
Yeah, so if you look at the quality of video, that I hate it when I put out a video and it doesn't look good, right? So the things it takes for this whole presentation to look and sound good, to me, it has to sound perfect. Otherwise, I'm really not happy, and I don't put out a lot of stuff if the sound isn't good. If you look at the credits for any of these movies, you see, any Hollywood movies, even small independent movies, the number of people you notice when the credits roll at the end, how much it takes like 20 minutes.
100 people that you don't even see to make it look the way it looks. But people have no appreciation for that.
No, none at all.
Because you don't see them.
I understand, and look, just trying to do all this stuff where we're just sitting basically stationary in a gym or at the studio or wherever, trying to make it look good with just one person. I'm not saying there's no special effects. We're not doing any of this stuff. We don't have a budget
we have like 50 people here to make it look this good.
Yeah, there's the number of people that have been on my team to produce videos over the last 18 months or whatever it is. At any given time, there's 7-8 people that go into doing this stuff. And then Sonny, who's our, Asian cameraman number one, he kills it. He edits all this video, and he would set all the cameras up before he did 9/10 of that stuff. Now he's having another kid, and as soon as he mentioned, hey, my wife's pregnant, congratulations. And the first thing that popped in my head is I can't ask him for anything ever. I'm never going to ask him again. If he volunteers or whatever, I'll graciously accept the help, but I can't ever ask him because, he's got 3 kids.
Yep.
And then
he's busy now.
They're all like grade school and a newborn coming. So that told me, okay, I need to learn how to do everything myself. I need to understand what goes into each of these processes. And what's that guy, Gary Vaynerchuk? Have you heard this guy?
No.
He's like this business. He was episode 9, I want to say 9, 10 of Joe Rogan Experience, the one right before the.
Damn, early one, huh?
Well, this is the one right. No, 9/11 was just recent.
Oh, I thought you said 9 or 10.
No,
I was like
910.
Damn,
Yeah,
that's
900
far back.
He's like, yeah. So it was Gary Vaynerchuk. He talks a lot about recognizing your strengths and doubling down on your strengths, and then just don't do your weaknesses. He says, like, don't sit there and stress and try to learn and everything and do everything. He basically says triple, double down, whatever on your strengths, and you got something you're passionate about, you got something you're good at, full in, double in, triple in. So I figure, okay, let me just at least understand the process, what he's doing. And for streaming, I understood why we weren't able to do that. I learned the process of syncing the audio of the video, why it was taking a long time. Okay, what does it go into to do that? And then I just sat there and I'm like, okay, alternative. We need to stop doing things the way we're doing, and I needed to think up a new process, and that's what I basically did. So that's why you're seeing way more video content. But to learn that over the course of the last year and a half, and to actually have to do it because I had somebody that helped me before, now I know better. So like I feel like I could teach courses on this stuff now, even though I don't have a million YouTube subscribers, but I understand what it takes to sort of get there.
Well, what was his rationale behind not doing the weaknesses and doubling down? Because that's what like people LeBron James would do. That's what they would do. They get the scouting report and, Dwayne Wade, whoever it would be, they can't dribble left. You double team them, they make a bad decision. They can't shoot 3-pointers, whatever the scouting report would say. And then over the summer, they would work on those weaknesses, come back better. So what was his rationale? Because from my perspective, I would say to work on your weaknesses to get better.
So we're talking jiu-jitsu.
No, just in general.
In life.
That was what he was referring to, right? Just like in life.
He's talking more in terms of business. So looking into what are you good at? So if I'm talking about a business, I have my own philosophy on basically if your company makes whatever tables, you don't spend time doing anything else but
making rugs or something.
Yeah, you don't
underneath the table. Yeah, I got you. Right.
You take a core vision, and then you just kick ass and attack it. But in terms of like LeBron or jiu-jitsu, you learn your weaknesses, you understand them, you do what you can to understand them. I think you should know everything. And for me, with this podcast stuff, knowing what I didn't know, but at least gaining perspective on whether or not this is something I could be good at. But there's other parts of it. The audio editing is very time consuming. So
that's when you pay somebody to do that.
I got it. There's a service that sort of it kind of takes the audio quality and like cleans it up a little bit, levels it. And I've had some success using that, and it's not that expensive. But
that's good. Then you can have more time enjoying life,
or making more content.
That's enjoying life to you, and someone else can, do the audio.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I'm like the worst resting person. I'm the worst vacationer ever. I bring my gi when I go on vacation. I go to the gym. I go work out because to me, sort of that productivity and accomplishing things, that's what's enjoyable. Like just laying around on a beach, I can't do it that much.
That sounds like lifestyle.
Yeah, I think I am more one of these always on people. And when I'm not, I don't feel very good about myself. So
yeah, I like working out. I went to Jamaica with my wife and I still worked out at the little day spa they have there. They have little dumbbells and some other fixed range of motion equipment. I just went there and tore that place down. It was on fire when I left.
So a lot of people travel for work. A lot of people just travel in general, or they don't have access to really good gyms. But I feel that even in a hotel gym, even with a little bit of floor, if you have it in you to make something happen, you're going to make it happen.
Yes.
And I feel like there's great workouts that you can do with, body weight, or
absolutely
very basic equipment.
Absolutely.
So if you're somebody that's pressed for time or that doesn't have access, like I have basically 24-hour access to almost everything you could think of between this gym and the 24 down the street, right? But if you didn't have that, what are some things that you think what are some basics? Like, what did you do in Jamaica, for example?
So in Jamaica, with not very much equipment, just with some basic dumbbells. All right, I did a push up. So my hands are on dumbbells, right? I do my push up and then I would row one, and then like do mountain climber. Do a push up, dumbbell, mountain climbers, right? And then some, maybe like one round just for a minute, or even 30 seconds, something kind of short, just to get down and get my heart rate going. But as the workout would progress, I made my way around the fixed range motion equipment. I can't recall what they were, but they were something. But back to that dumbbell thing, I've turned it into like a pyramid, ascending pyramid.
Okay.
So you do one push-up, one row, one mountain climber per leg, and then 2 per, right? And then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and just kind of keep going up until your heart explodes.
Until your heart explodes.
Yep, and then you go out to the beach and get fucked up.
Then you go.
But, that's just really basic thing, you could do to get a workout in with minimal equipment. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't have to be very fancy. It was a push-up, something for my back and my chest. Okay. I got my legs working, my core, heart rate up,
I feel like between, mountain climbers and squats and jump squats and burpees and just sprawls, running, and you can run in place, jumping jacks.
Yeah, the running in place, I feel like the better energy could be spent even doing the jumping jacks, right? Or the squat hops, you said. But I feel like if you have like a little bit of space, then at least, run to the edge of the driveway and then run back. And maybe you're going to do that 5 times real quick. Because something that short, you'll do a few of them. But like in the hotel, maybe that's when you get on the treadmill and you sprint for 10 or 12 seconds. That's going to seem short in just me speaking. And I'm saying it slow. If you go ahead and try that, sprint for 10 seconds, you're going to be feeling like you're almost dead.
If you're not doing it all the time, for sure.
For sure. So then you'll do like a little interval. Sprint for 10 seconds, walk for, 10 or 15.
So if I had a stretch of track, I have one thing I do. If I have like a stretch of street, and you don't need much for this. So if I had a stretch of street, I would, or road, pavement, whatever, I would do one thing. You do in the grass too, it's fine. If I have a treadmill, I would do something slightly different. If I have access to a treadmill, like I would, the high intensity interval training, basically what you just described, I would do something like 30 seconds just hauling ass, top speed, and then a minute and a half or a minute normal. And then you do that all the way up to 15, recovery. 20 minutes.
Very nice, yeah.
So, bring it up to 8 or whatever the hell your thing is, then bring it down to 5. 8, 5, just back and forth.
That's going to start being like, so some of those treadmills also, they'll have the quarter mile like track on the display. So then you can see how far, how many times you're going around. It lights up or whatever it does. What I have some of my clients do will be to, sprint the curve and then slow jog on the straightaway. Sprint the curve, slow jog on the straightaway. You try to do that for a mile and they'll be dead. People are, it depends on your conditioning, right? Or even how hard you push yourself. You could do that in a mile and be dead.
You tailor these to what you can do, and I promise by the time you're done, you can do more.
Yeah.
And this will get your conditioning up quick. The second thing, if I do have a stretch of track, I've been doing this since school. I would literally start at one end of the track, and I would decide, okay, we do push-ups here. And at the other end, the other 50 yards, I don't know what that is in metrics and meters, whatever.
They're pretty close.
So 50 yards, whatever. So at the other end of the track, I would decide that's either burpees or squats. So what I would basically do, I would hit my push-ups at the start.
Yep.
I would sprint down, hit my burpees, jog back. And you just do that. You
That's killer.
And
that's very basic.
You say 20-20 or 10-10. And then your speed of your sprint versus your jog. This is, again, how you would dial it up or dial it down. And you're gonna start with one thing and you're gonna end with another. And if you have access to more equipment, you can even decide to change those exercises up. So you have a jump rope at one end, you have a kettlebell at the other one.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome.
And then you do what you can do, and you try to push to do better. And this is stuff you can do by yourself. You do it with a friend, it's all good. And it doesn't have to be a race.
So can I actually add something to what you just said? You said do it with a friend. If we are at that track or that same little straightaway, how cool would this be with your partners? Like, I'm going to jump rope, or do these push-ups or these burpees or whatever the activity is, while you run the stretch down, back, and then we'll switch. Death. True death.
Exactly.
That's an awesome workout.
Exactly. What we'll do in here some mornings is we do different hip escape drills. I like doing, the sideways one I do. It's almost like the salsa move, so it's going to sound all messed up on mic. But I basically do sideways, right? I think it's all so Ronda Rousey did a video about this. Just being able to move without having to put your foot on the ground. It's great because if I'm up against a fence or a cage or a wall, whatever, in MMA, or I don't necessarily want to touch the ground to be able to counter somebody's movement. So if you're walking around me trying to pass my guard, I don't have to either check you. I don't have to add a trailing hook to, add an open guard like a butterfly hook. I don't have to establish a connection to you or to the floor and able to actually counter move. So it's more efficient by using my hips to move, right? I can do micro adjustments. So we'll drill that up and down the long way in the mat, right? We'll just go up and down, and then we'll do stop, 40 arm bar swings, 50 arm bar swings. Keep going, stop, partner up.
I remember those days.
Keep going up and and because it's not necessarily calisthenics for calisthenics. It's conditioning that is directly related to a jiu-jitsu technique that will save your ass at some point, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing that even though you're tired, as somebody's trying to run around you past your guard, like, this is your time to keep your composure. If you hold your breath and freak out on the bottom, pass. Or you're going to get passes. You're going to hold your breath right before they're about to pass, and then they can mess with your breathing. Just like those pitter-patter punches, right? Those Diaz brothers, they hit those little 50% jabs or whatever. Just as soon as you take a breath, they smack you.
It's perfect.
You never get to breathe. Just a little slap, right? You never get to breathe. Same thing, right? So by doing this, by having this sideways, hip escape, it's really cool because I can conserve energy. You're doing a big step either direction. All I'm doing is a little moving my shoulders, moving my hips. If you train to keep your shoulders and your head and your butt off the mat, your hips off the mat, it's going to be no brainer. But if you're always rolling with your shoulders flat,
it's lazy.
It's just people not knowing, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
It's also why by the time a lot of guys get to purple belt, like, they have abs at white and blue belt. And they're like the best cardio people mainly the ones that get like super addicted to jiu-jitsu because they're using more energy to do basic things. Their idea of an armbar swing or any of these techniques, it's harder because their shoulders are usually flat to the ground. Yeah, they haven't trained that core to kind of curve upward and give you that nice upper back pain yet. So they're sticking, right? Yeah. If I do a hip escape, my shoulder blades are flat to the mat. I'm sticking, but I'm using more energy to get to the same place. But by the time you learn it, you realize, moving from here to here, it's only like, just a little scoot. All of a sudden, you're like, purple belts, I figured out that the basically jiu-jitsu is in slow motion. As you get better, it's like a case of diminishing returns in terms of, the weight loss and, staying nice and fit. Unless you just push it. You have to push it even harder.
Yeah, work a little bit harder.
Right? So having people you can...
Getting older does not help.
Oh.
But that's what happens when you stay in the jiu-jitsu game.
But jiu-jitsu does help with getting older.
It does.
Getting older doesn't help jiu-jitsu.
No.
But jiu-jitsu helps with getting older.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, because if you stay in shape, you stay what? If you're doing jiu-jitsu all the time and you're a little bit older, you learn how to protect yourself, right? Yeah, you stay active, your cardio stays good, your conditioning stays good.
It promotes flexibility, but if you don't work on it, this is where some of the injuries might pop up.
But you're also producing what? Endorphins, happy chemicals, decrease stress, right?
Getting out some aggression. You get to choke people. It's awesome.
You're producing testosterone, IGF-1, just naturally.
Some adrenaline.
Adrenaline. These are all things that are going to keep you looking and feeling younger, right? Elio Gracie, 96 years old, is when he passed away, right? He was still training all the time, every day.
Beautiful thing.
He looked great. He looked tremendous. Did you see there was a video on YouTube or Facebook the other day. It was like 2 older women doing judo, like older.
You know what? I feel like I did see that. I did, I think.
I believe that Clint Cronin show may have shared a video, something like that. Definitely wasn't homework or anything. So we got a guy in the UFC this weekend. We got Big Pretty, Justin Willis.
Big Pretty.
You roll with him?
I do roll with him sometimes, yep. And here, as a matter of fact, he's pretty damn tough.
He's
super heavy.
275 heavyweight, so he's going to obviously cut to 265, but he's one of the AKA Pro Fight Team guys. He's young, undefeated, right?
And tough. I'm not sure of his record, but I know when I work with him in here, he puts it on me.
He can wrestle, and it's difficult because he is a big guy. He's a very strong guy. He's got good base, good jiu-jitsu. He's a good wrestler, but he's always wearing shorts, and he's already done like MMA training by the time you roll with him.
Yes.
So we're in a gi, and this guy's slippery and wearing basketball shorts or just MMA shorts.
Super primed up too. He's been here training for an hour before, easy.
Yeah, no excuses. He's a tough guy, so
yep.
I'm really happy for him. He got the call, and he's going to be in tonight, the UFC event.
Super exciting.
It's in Brooklyn?
It is in New York, yep. That's why everyone's out there.
So I know John Baird is out there. Alex Kababian, who's been on the Shizzo. He's out there coaching his guy. Man.
It didn't hit me when you said it at first that Alex is in New York. And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
But then, yeah.
So they got the call last minute. I got hit up. I didn't get hit up. I was right. I came to class Tuesday before fundamentals, and Alex wasn't here. And it dawned on me that Alex was in New York, and that meant that I am teaching jiu-jitsu fundamentals until Alex gets back from New York, which is all good. I like to drop knowledge on the young bloods, the new guys.
Spread knowledge.
So
knowledge is power.
So what's been up, man? What's the training life like?
Training life is good. You know, in the new year, people get very ambitious, but I can definitely, hopefully, bring some light to your ambition and, fitness goals. The training world's been very good, but sometimes, it takes a grounding of people to bring their heads out of the clouds. Sometimes they get very ambitious. And I think that any fitness goal can be reached with consistency and determination, right? You need to want to do it, right? Whether you want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, you want your bench press to be over 225, you want to lose 20 pounds. It doesn't matter what the fitness goal is. You want to run a marathon. Be consistent. Be consistent and be disciplined, with your training. It doesn't take a magic pill. There's nothing that's going to come in overnight shipping. That's going to just take time, and you have to trust the process. This is something that is hard to understand maybe at first, but if you ask someone who has success with their fitness goal, they're going to tell you they were disciplined, they believed they could do it, and they were consistent. Maybe not in that order, but that's really just what it takes. There's no magic pill.
I feel like a lot of people, you made a really good point kind of off camera before, and you alluded to it a second ago. It was in regards to setting realistic goals.
Yep. Yes. Realistic goals. If you want to lose the weight, before the high school reunion, don't start 1 week before the high school reunion to lose the weight. If you want to lose the baby weight, right, and get your body back pre-baby, start as soon as the doctor says you can. Don't start a year after. If you want your bench press to go up, you want your squat to go up, whatever it is, focus on those lifts. Focus on lifts that will get you those results. Of course, you don't want imbalances in your body with strength training, right? So maybe that's why you might need a trainer. Maybe not me, maybe someone in your area, wherever you're watching this, but you have to do workouts that are catered towards that goal. Don't worry about the glamour muscles. You want your bench press to go up or your squat to go up. It's fine. Don't worry about getting bigger biceps. Don't do curls in the squat rack if you want your bench press to go up.
Don't do that ever anyway.
Well, yeah, I had to throw that in there. But, do workouts that are catered towards the goal. And, be realistic with it. Don't have these inflated numbers. You're not going to do 100 pounds in 2 weeks, 100-pound increase. You're going to create injury. Potential for injury will be greatly increased if you're trying to be that aggressive with the number. Give yourself some time.
I feel like a lot of people give up prematurely on diets or on training regimens. And a lot of it is due to maybe expectations not being realistic, maybe due to like obsessively searching the internet for this magic answer like you talked about. And the other is just weighing themselves constantly.
Yes, I definitely think the weighing constantly is a issue. Maybe once a week. Once a month,
man. It's not
twice a month.
It's not down to, okay, I lost 100 pounds or whatever. It may not be. Maybe over the long haul, you're trying to lose 100 pounds, but really you're trying to look at, the CrossFit guys are good about it because they look at performance, your performance now versus last time.
Yes.
And just overall increases in performance. And this is kind of application, right? Application to weight loss can be, how do my pants fit?
Yes, and that's why you don't need to watch the scale or, get a circumference and your measurements and all these things because you're going to be able to tell that your pants are too big, that you've lost weight. It'll just show in your face, in your shirts. You'll be swimming in them. So you can't obsess about it because the obsessing is what brings on the failure usually. Well, I guess maybe in a certain sense, right? Because if you can obsess about your goal, right, it's going to help you stay focused on it.
I'll tell you what, man. Just getting into jiu-jitsu, you're going to be leaner than you ever were.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And so if you are into the whole bodybuilding thing, if you are into carrying around some muscle mass, you really need to be careful and be deliberate in regards to how much time you're spending on the weights, how you're using your energy, and what your real goals are. Because there's no right and wrong. A jiu-jitsu guy is going to say, why bother with any of these things? But in the back of your mind, if you know that you're going to feel better about yourself if you have bigger arms, if you have this, that, or the other thing, that's what you want. That's your goal. There's nothing wrong with it.
No, but then, then you would do that.
Yeah, but again, you have to really balance it because if you are doing heavy weightlifting for, aesthetics,
mm-hmm.
you need to realize there's going to be some counterproductive scenarios there.
Yes.
Where if you are doing a lot of bicep curls, a lot of vanity muscles, as we talked about, if you're doing rows and all this stuff and it's for upper body strength, that's one thing. But if you're going out of your way to grow your biceps, this is a vanity thing. So if you just, work your biceps and then go to jiu-jitsu class and you're working on a lot of grips, you're going to be doubling down on that bicep stuff. And if you're not resting properly, this is where tears happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Injury potential increased.
So you really have to find that fine-tuned balance of the type of training you're doing, the amount of rest you're getting, the amount of food you're eating,
mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people most people don't eat enough.
No.
And they wonder why they're still heavy. And if I had to describe it in a way that makes sense to me, it would be that we are naturally scavengers in terms of we're not like really hunter gatherers. So we're not carrying around like this big outer coat of fur. We're not meant to survive, in the wild anymore. So, but historically, your metabolism would be slowed down because your body is basically saying, I don't know when the next meal is going to happen. Because we stretch out meals so long, so we retain more water, retain more fat, versus you can trick your metabolism into burning more calories, burning more efficiently by having smaller meals more often during the day.
So, and all that kind of stuff is different to each body.
Yep.
The diet that worked for you might not work for me, might not work for him. And if you can observe what's happening to your body, if there's any positive changes, then you have to go down that road, and you have to keep exploring with foods. I feel like also,
Oh yeah.
right? That's the food thing is so crazy because people follow diets that work for other people, and then they wonder why it doesn't work for them. Or it might have worked for 2 weeks, but then it stopped working. Your body sometimes also will adapt and be like, oh, I'm just getting the same nutrients all the time, so I'm not going to change. So we got to keep on bringing in new nutrients. Change up the way you eat.
You have a lot of people that would take the traditional bodybuilding type diet and then apply it to athletics or apply it to the fighting or MMA or boxing, and didn't work out very well for a lot of people.
I bet.
The drastic weight cuts and everything, and it's really dangerous, really. We talk about kind of the traumatic brain injury thing all the time, and then so having a low fat diet where you're trying to squeeze all the water out of your body and get into your head when you decide that your brain is 70% fat and the rest is water, you're wondering where these flash knockouts and concussions are coming from. So
totally dehydrated, undernourished, rocked.
So I wonder if you're gonna. I mean, you're not allowed to replenish water via IV anymore in MMA or in the UFC.
Yeah, I heard that's been on at least last year. Did they do it last year?
They did it last year. They added more rules now. We talked about it before about the eye poking thing. Like you can't check this, you can't depth check like this anymore. Like to find your range.
Your fingers have to be
here
up.
or here, but you can go there. But if it's towards someone's face, it has to be here or there. But if the fingers are out, I mean, Bellator has that safety glove kind of thing, the mitten that goes over you're free fingered.
What?
So Bellator's glove and UFC's glove is much different. And
I don't think I've seen that. How have I missed that?
If you look at sort of State Athletic Commission statistics, event for event in UFC versus Bellator, the number of eye poke injuries and the number of finger breaks, whatever, per event, it's basically like 10-1 between UFC and Bellator. Bellator's glove, it rounds off at the end. Your fingers are basically free, but it's like a mitten. So you can still grapple. Your fingers are still free. But if I were to outstretch like this, there's a curved, sort of round,
crazy. But what happens when they make the punch? How does it come under? Because it's still attached to their fingers?
Still attached to the fingers, yeah.
Crazy.
But you can still grab with the inside of the fingers.
Still grab.
Yeah, we have them here.
Dang, that's crazy.
Alex likes them a lot. That was, I guess they were selling them there for a little while.
Like a little safety thing, huh?
It is, and they don't have the eye pokes. They don't have the broken fingers. It's like a 10-1 reduction. Yeah, so,
very smart.
But instead of changing the glove, they just made this because you're sticking your fingers in someone's face, just sticking in someone's face. Because that's not your reach. Look, if that's my reach now, if I close my hand, that's not my reach.
Yeah.
If you decide that that's your reach when you snap it. Like once I turn my shoulder over, whatever, like maybe that's the same as that because that's as far as you go. But if I'm stepping forward with my jab, it's much further.
Yeah, it's slightly out.
So I don't really see a really good reason to do this other than to deliberately poke somebody in the eyes. If this is your reach, this is your reach. Maybe this is an idea that like it keeps them outside of your reach, but
yeah, it's like a lazy way to just stay back.
Yeah, but like you want this, not this. Anyway, the other new rule in the UFC is you can't shit yourself anymore.
That is so crazy. I did not know that it happens so frequently. I can't believe that I have missed it. Because that one meme with Beth Correia, it looked like she shit herself after Ronda. But I think it was just the internet having fun. I've never seen that in real life. I did not know that was a thing. I did not know they had to make a rule about it because it happened so frequently.
People get sick. I mean,
that's so crazy.
If you think the amount of training and how thin you're spreading yourself when you're competing in like MMA and Jiu Jitsu, whatever, any of these sports, there's not most, but a lot of fighters are sick actually out there in the octagon. I mean,
from the weight cut,
from all of it, man. When you push yourself like that, you get sick. Your immune system takes a shit.
It's so crazy that you can't take a shit anymore. I'm outraged. No.
That'd be terrible. That would be just terrible. How awkward is that on either end?
Have you seen it? Like, I've been at a fight with you and someone has shit their pants? Because I feel like I would remember that, and I feel like I've never seen it.
Okay, I've seen it on TV certainly, and I saw it in person, but just out of respect, I'm not gonna go into what it was because I don't. So first of all, I don't know for sure. It looked like it from where I was standing, but I like this person very much, and I wouldn't want to embarrass, just put something out there that first of all I don't know for sure is true. It looked like it, but
So crazy.
what I will say is they still won, like, and we're dominant as hell. And if they were sick for whatever reason, or if it was just sustained from something else, I don't know, but it looked that way. But I wouldn't name names because it's fucked up. Anyway, it's got to be the most embarrassing thing in the world.
Pretty up there. It's got to be up there.
Yeah, I mean, like, but unless you're in that match with that person and it's you or them, I feel like that's like their story to tell.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like local stuff. So yeah. Anyway, man. So who's on the? It's so hard. I've been out of touch with UFC. I thought Anderson Silva was coming back and fighting.
I heard that maybe he was just trying to call people out. I'm not sure if he's going to be on this card, but I know Holly Holm is tonight, I feel like, and I think they said Jacare, but that's the extent of my knowledge.
Could you toss me a web browser or phone real quick? I'm going to look this up. Thank you. So,
I'm about to take care of my back soon, too. I got a bad back.
what's wrong with your back?
So it's not even my back, it's my psoas. It's from doing a lot of jiu-jitsu, I think. So I got to stretch. It's from like pulling people down with my guard. It's my psoas. It's in the front.
I thought you just said you like had a sore ass. I was like,
Yeah, it sounds funny, huh?
let's see, scheduled events, past events, UFC, scheduled events, and man, they have it scheduled all the way up to 220 right now.
Damn.
Right, so 208 would it be?
I think so.
Home versus Randami. So that's at the Barclays Center. So this is actually in Brooklyn, which is awesome.
Crazy.
Background. I don't want to. Let's see. You have Holly Holm, Jermaine G. Handami, Anderson Silva, Derek Brunson.
You're right.
Tim Boach is fighting Jacare. Glover Teixeira is fighting Jared Cannonier.
Damn.
Dustin Poirier is fighting Jim Miller. It's going to be great.
Damn.
And then Randy Brown, Bilal Muhammad, Wilson Hayes, Olka Sasaki, Islam Makachev against Nick Lentz. Felipe Nover is fighting Rick Glenn, and Ryan LaFleur is fighting Juan Carnero. And this is for the main event is for the UFC Women's Featherweight title, which would be Cyborg in there. But there's some current outstanding stuff going on with the Athletic Commission and Cyborg. I don't know, it was something down to the weight cut being drastic and some medication not being kosher with
some traces of substances in her
I want to say
bloodstream.
It was a diuretic or something like a diuretic that is under this scrutiny right now, but I don't know. I was really hoping to see Cyborg in a title fight, and I thought Holly Holm Cyborg was going to be tremendous. So kind of bummed about that. Holly Holm's a badass, though, so I'm looking forward to this match.
I was, dang it. I was thinking that someone else was going to fight tonight also. But I guess I was wrong, but I'm super excited for what's going to happen tonight. I want to see that Jacare.
So we're going to head over and kick it with
we
Palacios.
should, yep, because I'm super hungry soon, too.
Yeah, food's going to come up. Where are we on time? Can you check that baker on the audio?
Yep, 39.
40 minutes.
Yep.
All right. Real quick. Let's I want to bring it back to the jiu-jitsu topic real quick before we cut out. Just something. I feel, first of all, when people start jiu-jitsu, we talked about this in the last video, the little one we put out, a message to brand new people or whatever it was called. There's a lot of moves that are shown to brand new people. Like here's an armbar. This is mount. This is the mount escape, the upa. This is cross collar choke. Here's a sweep. Here's a bump and roll. Whatever. We just said that. But your first couple days coming into jiu-jitsu, your first weeks, months, I feel there's one thing that new students should be told, just to avoid being absolutely slaughtered. I feel like if somebody was just like, hey, buddy, come here real quick. Because you could talk about posture all you want. And yeah, posture, you want to be over your own hips, not theirs. So this is critical, but sort of the prerequisite for posture is understanding grips control, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I understand that as a wrestler, I sprawled because I intend to defend my legs, right? You don't want to be taken down, right? But the underlying message is I want to be defending my legs. And we showed a technique about lasso spider guard last week or 2 weeks ago, where if they weren't able to control your legs, they were at a great disadvantage. They didn't have the same control over you. But by your posture being broken, then you can get swept.
They have more control.
So if as a brand new jiu-jitsu student, you are going to start your first class, you're going to roll for the first time or first times or first months, you're getting choked, you're getting swept all over the place, you're getting armbarred all over the place. If you understand this one thing, it'll happen less. You're not going to magically be way better, but you're going to have an advantage and you're going to suck less. You're going to get your ass kicked less.
Suck less.
You're going to suck less. And
that's a good thing.
This is hand fighting, breaking grips. So if I know, first of all, if someone grabs my collar, this is bad. I need to do something about this. I need to address it immediately, because no matter what move you were trying, no matter what position you're in, once they establish grips to your body, that position is now changed. Your move, their move with a collar grip is now a different move. And if you do not address that collar grip, elbow trouble, you're in trouble. If they have your collar, you break the collar grip, 2-on-1 pop. And we'll do a little grip break thing at the end, maybe, or next time, whatever. There's lots of time. So
got to break grips.
So
at the wrist, on the collar, on your pants,
everywhere,
anywhere, anytime.
That's what we'll do. I want to do just a grip fighting, grip break video. What I'll do when I'm teaching the classes here for fundamentals, the other day I taught a class basically how to deal with from standing, collar, and elbow grip. Okay, you address the situation, boom. The collar, that's your neck. That goes to your brain and the thing that helps you be awake and think and not be dead. So you want to break that one first, right? So collar grip, boom, break that first. If they have the elbow also, collar, elbow, make space. Don't just stand there, because what are they going to do? Break. They're just going to look at you.
Grab.
They're going to go like that. If all they have to do is go like that to control you, you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So again, first things first. You need to deal with grips, because you learn it standing, and then you can apply that same thing to just a basic closed guard passing drill, and say, okay, now based on what you learned here, apply it to the closed guard.
Concepts
on the bottom. If you know to get off your back, get off your shoulder blades, crunch up a little bit, use your legs, try to break them down, get a collar grip, get an elbow grip. The top guy's got to say, hey, that's bad. I got to deal with this. I got to fight those hands. I got to hand fight. I got to grip fight. Break, and then you can open their guard. If in the process of you trying to open their guard, they re-grip, what do? Break, start again, go. Right? Because if you continue down that path and they have that collar grip, as soon as you back out, they're going to manipulate they are going to manipulate your upper body, and then you're going to get swept or submitted.
Don't try to pass if they have grips. It sounds so silly, and it sounds like it's probably beneath you. But believe me, if you try to pass while they have grips, it's not going to be to your benefit.
So
try to break the grip.
Check this out real quick. It's going to be a little magic. We're going to be in closed guard real quick. Get framed up. This is all good. So what I used to do back in the day, this is my little white belt move right here. I would do the under over. I'd have this choke right here, but I wouldn't be that tight on it. But I'd have them in. I would purposely do this, and I'd be able to see, is this person smart or is this person a dum-dum? So what the guy would do is they would see this is open. I'd be kind of obvious about it. They'd start backing out, just like this, like literally backing out their lower body. So from here, I would come in, put my feet on the hips, push away with my feet, and finish.
Popping my head off.
Popping his head off. And this is like a really obvious sort of, hey, I would never do that type move. I tapped so many people with that move. I would literally get all kinds of people because I would open my guard deliberately, and it was just to trick them into thinking that they can just pass my guard.
Get out.
I'd have them do all kinds of different versions. I had them try to hop over my hips. I'd have them try to do I had one person try to almost like bridge pass over, and then I just roll over with them and choke them because it's already in there deep. And once you push them away with their hips, boom. And I'm not trying to say this is the greatest choke in the world. What I'm trying to say is this is the most obvious, glaring example of why you have to, like you said, deal with those grips before you pass the guard. So hand fight. Jiu-Jitsu, not even 101. That's like Jiu-Jitsu 0. Self-defense 0. Jiu-Jitsu 0. Don't let anybody control your collar. It's the same thing as them grabbing your neck, right? Yeah. And that's where chokes start from. It's where sweeps start from. It's where everything starts from.
50% of the choke. They already have one grip on your collar. It's 50% of the choke. Just need one other one. Done.
And
head off.
In the comments section or whatever feedback, probably people are going to say stuff like, "Oh man, that's so obvious." You know how many tournaments we watch? You know how many? Yes, it should be obvious. But do you know how many matches I've seen where I am screaming grips, break the grips, and the only difference between a win or a loss, sweep or not a sweep, or submission or not a submission was yielding to that grip, being like, no, it's fine. They can grab my neck. What?
Keep his hand on my knee. Cool.
Probably. If I grabbed your neck anywhere else but jiu-jitsu class, would you just be like, oh, cool, that's fine? No. And you shouldn't let somebody grab your damn neck or your collar in jiu-jitsu. You just shouldn't. It's how many moves start with first you grab the collar. How many times have you heard when we're describing or anyone else is showing a move, a technique in class, on YouTube, wherever, seminar, I don't give a shit. First, start by grabbing their collar. If that's step one,
our step one is to break grip.
Yeah, step one. Step 0 is break grips. When you see that coming, don't let them do it.
Don't
swat it away. You know, they reach for your boom, immediately pop before they're able to, you know, grip. 2-on-1, pop up. There's a number of ways you can break grips. We'll get to it. We'll make a whole video on it. Just break grips. There you go.
Number 0.
So if you know that going into your first jiu-jitsu class, don't let anybody grab you. You're not going to get your ass kicked nearly as bad. You're going to get your ass kicked. I'm sorry.
You will.
It's fight school. You're supposed to. If you're not, you're not a good school.
You can't break my grips. They're like from the Death Star. Choke you with my mind through the camera.
I got the grips. You know who has best grips in here? And this is the thing. The Chamorro people. And this sounds all racist. the Chamorros. No, Saipan, Guam, and not just the dudes, the women. Erica has the best grips in here.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Her grips are better than someone else she may or may not be married to.
Interesting.
No, roll with both of them and try to break both collar grips.
Yes, I do know Jose has some badass grips.
Hers are better.
Interesting.
I don't know. She just has hand strength. I don't know where it comes from. Or just like she just persistent. And maybe she has nails. I don't know what it is, but she gets this hand on in the collar, and I go to break her grip, and it takes 2 tries. I'm like, "Excuse me,
what the hell are you eating?"
No, that's that. They're islanders, man. They're Saipan, Guam, man. They're tough.
That's awesome.
I
would not have expected that.
No, next time you meet somebody from Guam or Saipan, pay attention to the handshake.
Interesting.
It's respect. It's respect. I appreciate it, man. They get it. So that's why you gotta. If she has the best grips here, that's who you want to drill your grip breaks with.
Yeah.
If you got a guy in here that just grabs you from half guard and sends you all flying and stuff, that's who you want to train your half guard passes with. If you got somebody that submits you from leg locks all the time, that's who you want to work your leg lock defense with. Yeah, legs or limbs too. Don't drink the jiu-jitsu Kool-Aid. Legs or limbs too.
Rip it off.
You have to learn everything from everywhere.
Rip it off.
Man, it was back in the day. You couldn't. It was taboo, right? Legs.
It was.
Any of that stuff. It wasn't part of the bill of goods sold to the Gracie family once jiu-jitsu.
Today it is.
Yeah, it definitely is. Every no-gi tournament and these EBI style tournaments are more and more popular. And I'm sorry. That product is on UFC Fight Pass, and they have millions of customers, millions of people watching it.
I feel like we were watching UFC together very recently, and someone got heel hooked.
Mm-hmm.
We were watching that at the same time, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And we were all just like, blah, going batshit crazy. Yeah, heel hook on UFC. Pretty sweet.
It's right there, and it's really easy to get stuck in that position, especially if you come from a traditional gi jiu-jitsu background. You're not drilling them, right? Just like you don't see a lot of takedowns drilled as traditional gi jiu-jitsu guys. So you see a deficit when it comes to wrestling, and you see a deficit when it comes to leg lock offense and defense. You have to address it. The sport is going to pass the people that don't recognize that. Look, I get it. I understand why the gi jiu-jitsu tournaments and lower belts can't do leg locks. I understand the idea of retaining students and people not being injured and people not being discouraged. I get it. It's fine. But setting in a fight, in a real fight, if they have grappling experience and they know something you don't know, you lose.
I'm taking a leg in a fight if I have to. If I do your wrist, maybe that'll be enough to stop you. You know, if I can wrist lock somebody in a street fight, done. If I can heel hook someone, straight ankle lock someone in a street fight, done.
If you don't learn how to defend your legs, you're going to be at a deficit because more and more leg locks are finding their way even into gi tournaments. The white belts can do straight ankle locks now. As a white belt, it is your responsibility that you learn how to defend them, even if you're not attacking them, just to keep up. I recommend attacking them. Why? At a certain point, if you don't know them, right, you're going to get caught. You're going to get hurt because if you don't have your legs attacked often, when you do, you're going to get tense. You're going to freak out.
Not going to know what to do.
You're going to hold your breath. You're going to panic, and you're going to get your knee popped because you're not going to know when to tap. And you're not going to understand how the move works unless you tap people with it too. Mm-hmm. So you want to know how failure occurs from both sides. You want to know how the submission occurs from both sides. And I'm not telling any instructors or any jiu-jitsu organizations how to run their businesses, their tournaments, their schools. In my book, everyone should know everything. There's a safe way.
It's impossible to know everything. I got to stop you there.
You should be striving for it.
That is the art. That's the pursuit of perfection.
Right. For me, if I get caught with something, I want to know what happened.
I absolutely do.
I'm fine. I'm in school, right? No one's paying you to be the gym champion of the world. You're not gonna tap everybody all the time. You're supposed to get tapped. If you're not, then you should find people that can do that and get it done. Because you're just gonna plateau and you're gonna get a false sense of security. You're gonna get beat up when it matters.
Okay, you get challenged.
Experience that ego death early and just realize that this is school. This isn't the UFC. And when you're in here, you're supposed to get tapped. And if you were only measuring your self-worth based on your performance on the mat at jiu-jitsu school, stop right now. You're worth way more than that. You're cool as shit that you're even on the mat, that you've made it here, and you're cool regardless. And if you can accept that you're going to get tapped sometimes and just be okay with it, you're even cooler. Because
you're humble now and you understand, you know.
Who the fuck is undefeated at life?
Hello?
Everyone experiences tragedy. Everyone experiences loss. And everybody's supposed to get tapped because that's how you get better.
That's how you get better.
It's like the lobster, man. Did you hear that? You saw that philosophical thing? It's a video on growth and stress and pressure.
Yes. That's how he has to shed his shell to grow.
Yes. So
the shell becomes uncomfortable. He's forced to shed it.
And then he grows.
And he has to hide because he's vulnerable.
Yep.
And as soon as it hardens up, he comes back out. And he wears that one until it's uncomfortable, and he does it again.
Yep.
Repeatedly.
So that's what tells us alone, like being babied and having no, it's not good for you. You don't grow unless you've been put under pressure and you face stress and you overcome it.
Speaking of pressure, my back is about done.
We're about done.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's about time to go foam roll and catch up with Los Palacios at Smoke Eaters in Santa Clara.
UFC fight. Free plug. Shameless.
UFC 208. I'd like to thank everybody for continuing to stick with us and watch our stuff. Anthony Baker's on Instagram and Twitter, AJB1371. Again, if you're in service out there, or even if not, do us a favor and do those 22 push-ups. Mission 22, right?
22 to none. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. It's unbelievable. It's unacceptable. Stop it now. If you know someone who's on the fence, depressed, down in the dumps, pick them up. Call them, say hello. Something very nice and subtle. They'll appreciate it.
Yeah. everybody deserves to feel like they matter, that they're important, and yeah, if you have somebody that that has is suffering from mental illness, PTSD, anything, especially if they were in the service or maybe even police and that have been in the line of fire, just who the hell knows? There are a lot of cases where there's a stigma around mental illness, and it's got to stop. I know Aaron Hurley and Christina Barlan, they have that Submit the Stigma organization.
Cool. I don't think I've heard of that.
Just check them out. I think it's got to be submitthestigma.org. If it's not, just look up Submit the Stigma. She's a Marcelo Brown belt, and Christina, she's fucking everything champion at jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. She'll be EBI actually.
Really?
Yeah, she's part of the first EBI female or women's tournament that's coming up soon. She was just selected, which is going to be awesome. We'll be hopefully down there supporting her for that. But yeah, anyway, Submit the Stigma. They raise awareness to mental illness and to suicide and all that sort of thing, and they put on seminars and things. They had one right after Nogi Worlds over at Coyoteras recently. Nice. They lost a teammate to very sad circumstances. So yeah, Submit the Stigma, Mission 22, both great organizations that do great things, and throw down those 22 push-ups to raise awareness for the 22 service men and women that lose their lives to suicide every year. Otherwise,
not cool.
No. If you guys made it all the way to the end, thank you. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. We do this stuff because we love to. Jiu-jitsu's changed and saved our lives over and over, and we just want to get out there and share it with the world. So again, I'm Clint Cronin. It's Anthony Baker. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, break grips. Don't let nobody grab your neck. Thank you.